To start, what is entertainment? An activity that is fun, that gives joy, that feels good. Examples, we have movies, restaurants, adventure, live concert, vacation, museum, painting, gossip, I'd say talk with your friends, stargazing, playing, carpentry, reading, and many other activities, right? Stop paying money for entertainment. Entertainment is something that people think it is doing something. Stop doing things for entertainment. You are not a human doing. You are a human being. So just be in the moment. Feel good in the moment. That's entertainment. In Unit 12, let's learn more vocabulary about entertainment. So, entertainment is a form of activity that holds the attention and interest of the people or gives pleasure and delight. It can be any kind of activity or events that people go and feel the moment. That's entertainment. Not only comedy shows, but also plays, musicals, and other ways of performance. So they are art presentations played on the stage of a theatre. That's another way of entertainment. So here we have other ways of entertainment, and you're going to match the people in the box with the pictures 1 to 6 and the event with pictures 7 to 12. You're gonna listen and check. Let's do the exercise. So let's listen and check.
1. Artist. 2. Player. 3. Opera singer. 4. Dancer. 5. Actor. 6. Band, musician. 7. Ballet. 8. Concert. 9. Play. 10. Game. 11. Opera. 12. Exhibit.
So here we have the vocabulary about person, people. They are number 1, artist, number 2, band or musicians, number 3, dancer, 4, player, 5, actor, and 6, singer. About the events we have number 1, exhibit, number 2, concert, number 3, ballet, number 4, game, 5, play, and number 6, opera. Exercise number 3. Pay attention to the sentences with the vocabulary from exercise 1 about entertainment. Number 1. I love this artist's work. She uses beautiful colors. Number 2. My friend's band are really good. They play rock music. Remember that band is a singular word, but we use the verb in the plural because the idea here is plural, musicians, a group of musicians, right? Number 3, do you like ballet or do you prefer modern dance? 4, how many players are there on a soccer team? 5, what's your favorite Shakespeare play? 6, there's an art exhibit at City Hall. 7, did you go to the jazz concert on Friday night? Number 8, my cousin is an actor. He's been on TV a few times. Now, let's do another exercise about the entertainment. We have the words fan, game, play, opera house, actor, and club. You're going to identify which of these words are people, places, or events. Let's check the vocabulary. The people are fan and actor. A fan is a person who admires another person or something. The places are opera house, that is the same as theater, and the club. Club can be a place that you can go dancing, a nightclub, or a club. It's a place that you can go with your family to have fun, go swimming, right? And the events are game and play. A play is an art presentation that is performed at a theater on the stage, right? We have lots of play like The Wizard of Oz. It can be a movie or a play that means peça teatral. Now let's read an interview. Who is the person in the picture? What is he going to try for the first time? So, from Metallica to Mozart. What happens when a heavy metal fan goes to an opera for the first time? Have you ever been to a baseball game? Have you ever acted in a play? Is there a new experience that you'd like to try? Each week, we ask a guest to try something new for the first time. Our guest this week is Steve Bryan, a journalist with the heavy metal magazine, Metal World. Steve has never been to an opera. So, you've never been to an opera, Steve, is that right? That's right. I've been to music festivals and rock concerts, but not to an opera. I've walked past the opera house, but I've never been inside. We know you love heavy metal. What other music do you listen to? I like a lot of different styles of music, from rock to blues and soul, and singer-songwriters like Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen. What are your thoughts about opera music? I've never really listened to it, and I don't know much about it, so this is gonna be an interesting experience. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Let's do the exercise about the text. Pay attention to the interview again and let's check if the sentences are true or false. Number one, Steve has never been to a music festival. True or false? That's false. He says that he has been to a lot of music festivals like rock music, right? Rock concerts, but he has never been to an opera. That's false, right? Number two, Steve has never been inside an opera house. True or false? That is true. He says that he has never been inside an opera house, right? And he has never watched it. Number three, he's only interested in heavy metal music. True or false? That's false. He says that he likes a lot of different styles of music, from rock to blues and soul. And he also likes singer-songwriters, right? And the last one, number four, he knows a lot about opera. True or false? That is false. He knows a lot about opera? No way. He says that he has never listened to it and he doesn't know much about it. Now let's complete the sentences from the interview. Pay attention to the question here in number one. Pay attention to the interview. Have you ever been to a baseball game? Have you ever acted in a play? So the questions start with the verb have. And then we have the subject, you. Then we have ever, that means at any time. Ever is the opposite of never. And been. What is been? Been is the past participle of the verb to be. So let's study about present perfect tense. Present perfect tense is a verb tense used to talk about the past. The function is to talk about the past when you don't mention the time, when the time is not important, the action is more important, and when we talk about actions that repeat and continue up to the present moment. The structure of the present perfect tense is subject plus the verb have or has, the auxiliary verb have, has for he, she, it, plus the main verb in the past participle, plus the complement. Example, I have traveled to São Paulo. The question is, when did I travel to São Paulo? I don't mention the time. Time is not important. When I mention the time, when I say last year, I use the simple past tense. And then I say, I traveled to São Paulo last year. You see the difference? So let's pay attention about the present perfect tense in the negative form. In the negative form, I say, I have not traveled to Bahia, or I haven't traveled to Bahia, or I have never traveled to Bahia. You can use the simple form or the contracted form. Now take a look at the interrogative form. You invert the order. You have traveled, affirmative, changes into, have you traveled to Bahia? Have you ever visited São Paulo? So take a look at the text again. The question is, have you ever been to a baseball game? Been is the past participle of the verb to be. Travel is added ed because it is a regular verb. The past participle of the verb travel is the same as the simple past form, right? But the verb to be is irregular. So you say be in the past tense, was or were. In the past participle, we say been. So the next question, have you ever acted in a play? Acted is a regular verb, add ed, right? The next sentence, we have a negative form. Steve has never been to an opera, right? Be again, the past participle of the verb to be. Now let's pay attention to the interview. You've never been to an opera. Again, we have a negative form. You can say you haven't been or you have not been, right? When we use never, remember, never is a negative adverb, so we do not use not. Right? Sentence, I've been to music festivals. I've walked past the opera house. Both are in the affirmative sentences. I've is the contraction of I have, right? The next one, I've never been inside. I've again the contraction, but this sentence is a negative form, right? In the end, we have the last sentence. I've never really listened to it. Again, pay attention to the verbs used in the text. Walked, listened. Both are regular verbs. In the past participle, we add ed, the same as the simple past form. But remember, the other verbs that are irregular, they have their own forms, right? Let's go ahead and do the exercise. Let's check the answers for the sentences about the interview. Number 1, the answer is, have you ever been to a baseball game? Number 2, how do you complete that sentence? Steve, remember that Steve is the third person singular, he, right? So we don't use have, we use has. Let's complete. The answer is number 2, Steve has never been to an opera. Has because I'm talking about Steve, he has, Steve has never been to an opera. Negative form, right? What about number 3? How do you complete? Number 3, the answer is I've walked past the opera house. You see, contraction of I have, I, and the past participle of the main verb that is walk. So you say, I've walked past the opera house, affirmative sentence. The last one, number 4, how do you complete? You could use I have never been inside. But according to the interview, he says, I've never been inside in the contraction form, right? So let's complete the rules about present perfect tense. Pay attention to number 1. We form the present perfect tense with the verb, let's complete, plus the past participle. Which verb do I use as auxiliary verb of the present perfect tense? We use the verb have or has. Remember, has for he, she, it, right? Number 2, we often use the adverb in questions to ask about someone's experiences. So which adverb do I use in questions to ask about people's experiences? I use ever. Ever means at any time, alright? Ever is the opposite of never. In number 3, we often use the adverb in negative sentences about experiences. So what is the opposite of ever? So that's it, never. Never is used for negative sentences, right? Take a look at the grammar box. Present perfect with ever and never. We use the present perfect to talk about experiences in our lives. In affirmative sentence, the example, I've been to music festivals and rock concerts. Do I mention when I was in this festival? No, because the time is not important. The experience, the action is more important than the time. That's why I use present perfect tense. You see? If I mention the time, I don't use present perfect. I use simple past tense. So I would say, I was in the festival in Rio de Janeiro last year. You see the difference? In the negative, remember we say, I have not or I haven't. In the negative for he, she, it, I say he has not or he hasn't. The example, he hasn't listened to an opera. He's never listened to an opera. You see? Remember, I've contraction of I have. His contraction of he has. Right? Don't get confused about the contraction of he is. Remember? In questions, you just invert the order. So I ask the questions starting with the auxiliary verb have or has. Example, have they ever acted in a play? Yes, they have. Or no, they haven't. Remember, if I use the verb have as an auxiliary verb for questions, the answers are using have or has, right? Look, regular past participles are the same as simple past forms. We add ed, they end in ed. Remember, acted, walked, listened. The past participle of the verb go, for example, is gone, but we often use been for experiences. I went to London again last year. You see, I used the past tense of go, I went, because I mentioned the time last year. But when I don't mention the time, I say, I've already been 3 times. I have been in this place for 3 times, but I don't say when exactly I was there. You see the difference? Alright? So let's review about the present perfect tense. Remember, the uses of the present perfect tense are: number 1, actions in the past with no time mentioned. So you talk about experiences, but you don't say when. Number 2, actions that started in the past and they continue up to the present moment. Example, I have traveled to Ceará 3 times. I haven't visited my friends. My mother has worked at this school for 4 years. We have lived here for more than 10 years. As you can see, all the situations happen in the past, but we don't mention when they exactly happened, right? So we say that I have traveled to Ceará 3 times, but I don't say when the time was. And when I say my mother has worked at this school for 4 years, it means that she continues working. The same way as when we say we have lived here for more than 10 years. The idea is the action started in the past and it continues up to now, up to the present moment. Pay attention to this example. I've been in hospital for 3 weeks. I was in hospital for 6 weeks. The difference here is the action continues up to the present moment. The guy is still in the hospital. And the second example, he is not in the hospital anymore. He's in a cafe talking, right? So he was in the hospital for 6 weeks. He's not anymore. He left the hospital, right? So we use the present perfect tense to talk about an action that started in the past and continues up to the present moment. And we use the simple past tense to talk about action that is complete, that is finished, over, right? The present perfect is formed from the present tense of the verb have or has for he, she, it, and the past participle of a main verb. Example, I have traveled to the USA once. Auxiliary verb have plus the verb in the past participle. Travel is a regular verb. Remember that? We add ed in the past and in the past participle. And when do we use the present perfect? For something that is started in the past and continues in the present. Pay attention to the example. They've been married for 50 years. They are still married. They were married for 50 years. Simple past tense. They are not married anymore. You see the difference? They've been, contraction of they have been, and they were. Present perfect and simple past tense, right? When I use the simple past, when I'm talking about actions that are complete, finished. Another example. She has lived in London all her life. She still lives there. She lived in London all her life. She probably died. Or she moved to another place, right? So remember, when we use the present perfect, the idea is that the action continues up to the moment. And simple past tense describes that the situation is finished, over. Did you get it? We use the present perfect of be when someone has gone to a place and returned. But when someone has not returned, we use have or has gone. Pay attention to the examples. Have you ever been to San Francisco? No, but I've been to Los Angeles. Where is Maria? I haven't seen her since last weekend. She's gone to Paris. She'll be back tomorrow. Let's practice a little. So we're gonna use the present perfect tense here in the sentences and pay attention to the correct words to complete the sentences, right? Let's choose the right option. In number 1, we have has or have worked for the third person singular. In number 2, I've never or I've ever been to an opera. Number 3, I has or I have acted in a few plays. 4, have you ever or have ever you listened to jazz? Number 5, Tom doesn't work here. He's been or he's moved to a different company. And number 6, we've ever visited or we've never visited the museum in my town. Let's check the answers. Number 1, Liev has worked as a professional dancer. So I'm talking about the third person singular. He has, not have, right? Number 2, you say, I've never been to an opera. We use never for the negative form, right? Never is a negative adverb, so we use that way, I've never or I have never been, right? Ever we use in questions, right? Remember, ever is the opposite of never. Alright? And number 3, you say, I have acted in a few plays. You don't use has for the person I. Remember, we use for he, she, it. So you say, I have acted, or you could say the contraction, I've acted. In number 4, the question is, have you ever? Not have ever you. You see, ever is after the pronoun. So the question is, have you ever listened to jazz? Number 5, Tom doesn't work here. He's moved to a different company, right? Number 6, you say, we've never visited the museum in my town. Again, as number 2, we are talking about a negative sentence, alright? Exercise number 2, you're going to complete the sentences with the past participles of the verbs in parentheses. In number 1, we have the verb study. In number 2, the verb work, twice. In number 3, play. 4, stay. 5, be. 6, see. 7, act. Number 8, number 9, visit, cook. You're going to change the verbs into the past participle, right? So let's check. Number 1, say, I've never studied a foreign language. Number 2, I've worked in a restaurant, but I've never worked in a store. Number 3, have you ever played volleyball? 4, has your mother-in-law ever stayed with you? 5, I've never been to a classical concert. 6, we've never seen a famous person. Number 7, we've never acted together. 8, my sisters haven't visited me in New York. 9, I've cooked a lot of Indian food. Remember, the verbs that are finished in ed are the regular verbs. The past participle is the same as the past simple of the verb study, work, play, act, visit, and cook. We add ed, right? And the verb to be, see, they are irregular verbs, so they have their own forms in the past participle. The past tense of be is was and were, and the past tense of see is saw. But the past participle of these verbs are be, been, see, seen. Alright? Let's go to the next exercise. In this exercise, you're going to create the conversation. So you're going to create the questions and then the answers, right? We'll ask questions using the present perfect. Remember, the rule is to use have or has in the beginning of the question before the subject, right? And remember, in number 1 we have you, so the verb is have or has to ask the question. Number 2, the subject is your mom, so we use have or has before the subject. And number 3, we use have or has for Charlie and Kate. Alright, so let's check the answers. So here are the answers. Number 1, have you ever been to Peru? The answer, no, I've never been to South America. Remember, the subject, you, we use the verb have, right? And be in the past participle is been, alright? Remember that ever is used in questions. Have you ever been? Have you at any time in your life been to Peru? And in the negative sentence, we used never, right? For the negative form. You can say, I haven't been or I've never been, right? In number 2, the subject is your mom, so we used has, right? For he, she, it, we use has, not have. The question is, has your mom ever studied English? And the answer is, yes, and she has studied German too. The question number 3 is about Charlie and Kirsty. So we used have because it's the person they, right? So the question here is, have Charlie and Kirsty ever played rock music? The answer is no, but they played classical music, right? Remember the difference between present perfect and simple past tense? Let's check. We use the present perfect to talk about an experience in our lives. We use the present perfect to introduce a topic and say that it happened. Remember that I don't mention the time. Examples. I've met Jennifer Lawrence. I've been to New York. My sister has started a new job. I don't tell you the time because time is not important, right? When we give details about the experience, for example, when something happened, what exactly happened, who you were with, or how you felt, we use the simple past. Examples: I've met Jennifer Lawrence. I met her in a hotel in London. I've been to New York. I went there in 2005. My sister has seen a shark. She was really scared. In these sentences, I mentioned here specific details, right? And when I mention those details, like that I met the person in a hotel in London with a lot of specific information, I use the verbs in the simple past tense. Met is the simple past and the past participle of the verb meet. Went is the simple past of go. But remember, the past participle of go is gone. And the difference when I say I've been to a place and I've gone to a place is about that. When I say I've been, it means that I returned from that place. And when I say I have gone or a person has gone, the person that did not come back. The person did not return. The last one I used, she was really scared because I'm talking about how the person felt. So every time that I give specific information, details about the experience, remember we use the simple past to talk about that. All right? But when I just talk about the experience and I don't mention the time, remember that I use the present perfect tense, right? When we ask for more details about past events, we usually use the simple past, not the present perfect. The question here is, where did you meet Jennifer Lawrence? Not where have you met Jennifer Lawrence, right? When did you go to New York? Not when have you been to New York? And how did your sister feel? Not how has your sister felt? In these questions, I'm asking about details. Remember that every time that we give specific information, details about the experience, remember to use the simple past tense, right? We often start a conversation with the present perfect. When we give details about that experience or ask for them, we change to the simple past, right? Let's listen to more examples.
Have you ever been to Spain? Yes, I have. I went there 2 years ago. Did you go to Madrid? No, I didn't. But I went to Valencia and Malaga.
Did you get it? So, questions about experiences, we use present perfect. Have you ever been to Spain? But when I want to get more information, specific information, details about something, I ask the question using the simple past tense. All right? Did you go to Madrid? First, I ask the person about the experience. Then I ask for details. I know that the person has been to Spain, so I ask for specific information about a city in Spain if the person went there, right? So that's why I use the simple past. Let's practice the difference between simple past tense and present perfect tense use. Check the answers. In number 1, choose the correct words to complete here. Do you say, have you ever been to Peru, or did you ever go to Peru? Remember? So the right question here is, have you ever been to Peru? I'm asking about an experience, right? And the answer is, yes, I have. So the answer is in the present perfect, right? So the question is in the present perfect too. I never use did and the answer, yes, I have, right? Number 2, I've been or I went with some friends from college last year. What do you say? The answer for number 2 is I went with some friends from college last year. Why do I use the simple past? Here I mention who I went with and the time. When I mention the time, remember I use the simple past tense. I give details, specific information, right? Number 3, the question is, where have you been or where did you go? So the right answer for number 3 is, where did you go? Remember that when I ask for specific information, details of the experience, I use the simple past, right? I start using the present perfect, asking about the experience. Have you ever been to Peru? And then I ask a more specific question. Where did you go? Right? Simple past tense. Where in Peru did you go? And the answer is to Machu Picchu. And the number 4 is in the past tense. It was fantastic because the person is giving details about how the person felt about the experience. In number 4, the person is giving specific information, details about the experience. All right, that's why we use the simple past. In number 5, what is the answer? I've been to Lima or I went to Lima in 2010. The answer here is I went to Lima in 2010 because I'm talking about specific information, details, the time, 2010, right? And number 6, we say we had a great time because the person here is talking about details, how the person felt there. In her opinion, Machu Picchu is amazing. We had a great time. The action is finished, over, simple past tense, right? And number 7, the question is what have you done or what did you do there? What is the right answer here? The answer for number 7 is what did you do there? Again, like in number 3, I'm asking for specific information. What did you do there, right? I'm asking for details about the experience. That's why I use the simple past tense. And the last one, number 8, what is the right answer? We've been or we went on some incredible hikes. What is the right answer? The answer is we went. Simple past because I'm talking about specific information and the action is finished, over, right? Did you get it? In this exercise, you're going to create the question and then the answer using the present perfect or the simple past tense. Pay attention. So, let's do it. Pay attention to the subject in letter A, you, right? And remember that if I use the present perfect tense, I ask the question using have or has before the subject. As the subject here is you, so the question is in present perfect tense, asking with have, right? So let's check the answers. Let's check the answers. The question is, have you ever done karate? The answer, yes, I tried it 2 years ago. Remember, in questions that I ask about experience, I use the present perfect tense. But the answer, The person here says, try it. Simple past tense because the person mentions the time, specific information, right? 2 years ago. And the next question, what did you think of it? The question is in the simple past because the person is asking for specific information, right? And the answer was in the simple past again, because the person says how he or she felt. She says, or he says, I really like it, right? The next question, where did you learn? Again, the person is asking for details. Remember, when we ask about details, we use the simple past tense. And did is the auxiliary verb in the simple past tense, right? So the question is, where did you learn? The answer, in the past tense, again, because the person is giving information, details about the experience. I took classes at the sports center. Took is the past tense of take. And the past participle of take is taken, right? So here we use the simple past. I took classes at the sports center, right? Let's practice pronunciation. Pay attention to the sentence stress. Listen, repeat.
1,
I've been to an opera.
2,
I haven't been to a tennis game.
3,
I've never sung in a band.
4,
Have you ever bought a lottery ticket?
So remember, the contraction of I have, you say I'm. In the negative, haven't, right? Let's practice more about the sentences. Say the sentences. Listen, check, and repeat.
1,
Have you ever been to New York?
2,
I've acted in a play.
3,
I've never had a pet.
4,
I haven't flown business class.
Now it's listening comprehension exercise, right? Let's practice. You're gonna listen to part 2 of the interview with Steve, and you're going to complete the sentences about what he says, right? Listen.
Last week, we invited Steve Bryant from Metal World magazine to go to the opera for the first time. So, Steve, how was it?
It was good. I'm surprised, actually, because I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Yes, I've never thought about going to an opera. I've been to a lot of concerts, and I've seen a lot of bands, but now I can say that I've been to an opera. There were some great moments, like when the chorus came on stage, 30 or 40 people all singing together. I thought, yeah, this is really, really good.
And what did your colleagues at the magazine think?
Well, they were very interested, actually. Most of my colleagues have never seen an opera, so next time I'm going to invite them.
So, remember Steve? He has never been to an opera, but now he has a great experience. Did Steve like the experience going to an opera? Let's check the answers. Pay attention to the conversation again. Pay attention to the interview again. Now let's check this.
Last week, we invited Steve Bryant from Metal World magazine to go to the opera for the first time. So, Steve, how was it?
It was good. I'm surprised, actually, because I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Yes, I've never thought about going to an opera. I've been to a lot of concerts, and I've seen a lot of bands, but now I can say that I've been to an opera. There were some great moments, like when the chorus came on stage, 30 or 40 people all singing together. I thought, yeah, this is really, really good.
And what did your colleagues at the magazine think?
Well, they were very interested, actually. Most of my colleagues have never seen an opera, so next time I'm going to invite them.
You see, the presenter here in the interview asks the question about in the past tense. How was it? Because it is specific information, right? And the answer Steve says is, I've never thought about going to an opera. He's talking about an experience, but he doesn't mention the time. He also says, I've been to a lot of concerts. He doesn't mention the time again and no details. And then he says that I've seen a lot of bands. You see, again, he doesn't mention details about the experiences, right? Next one, he says, I've been to an opera. He doesn't mention when he was there. That's why we use present perfect tense. I've been, right? And the next one here, the question is, what did your colleagues at the magazine think? Because the person here is asking for specific details. And the last one here, we are talking about the past tense. They were very interested. And in this sentence, I say they were very interested. I use the simple past tense because I'm talking about how they felt, right? The last one, I say most of my colleagues have never seen an opera. I'm not talking about the specific details or time, you see? That's it. Next exercise, complete the sentences using the past participles of the verbs in the box. The verbs see, cook, work, fly, fail, go, cry, and arrive. The verbs cook, work, fail, cry, and arrive are the regular verbs, so the past tense and the past participle are the same. So we say cook it, work it, failed, cried, and arrived. The verbs see, fly, go are irregular. They have their own forms in the past participle. The past tense of see is saw, and the past participle is seen. Fly, flew, flown. And go, went, gone. So let's complete. Let's check the answers. Number 1, you say, I've cried during a movie. Number 2, I've never seen a Shakespeare play. Number 3, I've been to a ballet. 4, I've never failed an exam. 5, I've cooked Chinese food. 6, I've never arrived late for my English class. 7, I've worked as a waiter in a cafe. And number 8, I've never flown in a helicopter. You see? Now, take a look at the picture. Do you like adventure? Are you adventurous? When I ask questions about life experiences, I generally use the present perfect tense. Pay attention to the example. Have you ever been to a soccer game? And the answer is, yes, I have. How about you? So, this is a questionnaire that you're going to answer those questions and discover if you're adventurous. So, answer the questions and then find out if your score tells you that you are an adventurous person or not, right? Let's check. Are you adventurous? Do you like to try new things? How adventurous are you? Try our questionnaire. Try our questionnaire to find out. Number 1. Have you ever gone to a soccer game? Remember that I changed the verbs in parentheses from the infinitive to the past participle, right? Let's check the questions. So the answer for number 1, question number 1. Have you ever gone to a soccer game? The past tense of go is went and the past participle is gone. Number 2. Have you ever seen your favorite band in concert? See, the past tense is saw and the past participle is seen. Number 3. Have you ever been in a carnival? Be, past tense was and were, and the past participle is been. Question number 4. Have you ever played in a band or orchestra? So play is a regular verb, just add ed in the past and the past participle. Number 5, the same way, visit, regular verb, you add ed, so in the past and in the past participle you say visited. So the question for number 5 is, have you ever visited an art gallery? 6. The same way as number 1, have you ever gone to an opera? Number 7, have you ever danced salsa? So, dance is a regular verb, you add just D because the verb finishes in E, right? In the regular, as a regular verb, dance, you add ed, but the verb finishes in E, so you just add D for the simple past and the past participle. In number 8, climb is another regular verb that you add ed, so you say, have you ever climbed a mountain? So these are the questions about if you are an adventurous person or not. Let's find out your profile about adventure. If your score was between 7 and 8, you're very adventurous. Is there anything you haven't done? If your score was from 4 to 6 points, you're pretty adventurous, but there's a lot more that you can try in life. And if your score is just between 1 to 3, you haven't done many things, but don't worry. Why not try something new this weekend? So, are you adventurous? When we talk about experiences, we generally talk about how we felt during this moment. So, take a look at the pictures and complete the sentences about them with the vocabulary from the box. We have terrible, sad, amazing, fun, scary, and strange. These words are all adjectives, right? Qualities. And you're going now to complete the sentences to describe them, right? Number 1, this is, the answer is fun. Entertainment like going on a ride in a park is fun, right? Number 2, this movie is really scary. The answer is scary, right? Number 3, what a picture. Take a look at his face, the man's face. He looks at the picture. In his opinion, it is a, based on his face expression, we can say that it's a strange picture, right? So the answer is, what a strange picture. Number 4, take a look at the man's face. He talks about that his team is terrible, amazing, or sad. He says, our team is terrible today, right? He's so disappointed, right? And number 5, this view is, take a look at this beautiful picture. You can say this view is amazing or sad. So you say this view is amazing for number 5, incredible, magnificent, right? And number 6, take a look at the woman's face. She's crying. So in her opinion, she can say this book is so sad, right? Something that makes you cry is something sad. So we use these words terrible, sad, amazing, fun, scary, and strange to describe some characteristics or to give our opinion about something. So we use adjectives to talk about specific qualities, specific characteristics about something or someone, right? Let's practice a little about the adjectives. So you're going to complete the chart here with the adjectives and you're going to classify them into positive, okay, or negative. So let's do it. We have the adjectives awesome, that means great, brilliant. Awful, that is the opposite, something terrible. Boring, that is tedious. Amazing, that is something incredible. Exciting, full of energy, that motivates a person. Interesting, alright, terrible, sad, strange, horrible, fun, fantastic, that is the same as incredible, great, stupid, cool, great, and scary, right? So let's identify which ones are positive, which ones are okay, and the ones that are negative. Let's check it. The positive ones are amazing, cool, exciting, fantastic, fun, great, interesting. Okay, alright. Negative. Awful, boring, horrible, scary, sad, strange, stupid, and terrible. Read the sentences now and choose the adjective that it's not possible, right? So we have three options. In number one, this play is terrible, cool, or boring. Can we go home now? So which one is not possible to be here to complete this sentence? Let's check the answers. Number one, this play is, you can say terrible or this play is boring because you are saying that you want to go home now. Can we go home now? So it's because the play is not okay. The only one that it's not possible to be used here is cool, right? So you have to underline the adjective that is not possible to be used, right? So number two, I don't like sad or scary movies. I prefer action movies. And the one that is not possible to be used is exciting because action movies are full of excitement, full of energy. So exciting is not possible to be completing here the sentence, right? Number three sentence is, I had an amazing time at the party last night. It was awesome or fun because you had an amazing time. The only one that is not possible is alright. Alright is something normal, common. And you had an amazing time, incredible, awesome, fun. You see? The one that is not possible is alright. 4. New York is a really interesting city or exciting city. I'm gonna go there again. So if you want to go back again, it means that you thought New York is a really interesting or exciting city, not scary. So the one that is not possible is scary. In number 5, we had a nice vacation in Chile, but the weather was awful or horrible, but indicates opposite ideas. So if you had a nice vacation, but the weather was the opposite of nice, that it's not possible to be used is great. Because if you had a nice vacation in Chile, you couldn't say the weather was great. You see? Because there is but. But is the opposite. Number 6, I don't think I like Pedro very much. He's a bit strange or scary, because strange and scary are negative adjectives, right? And the only one that it's not possible here is to say that he's a bit fun. If he's a bit fun, I like Pedro, but I say that I don't think I like Pedro very much, right? Let's go ahead in number 7 and 8. 7. I went to hear a really fantastic or awesome singer on the weekend. She was amazing. If I say she was amazing, it is positive. So fantastic and awesome are possible answers, but the one that is not possible is terrible. Last one, number 8. The movie was a bit stupid or strange. I didn't really like it. If I didn't really like the movie, it means that it was stupid or strange. I don't say interesting because interesting means positive idea, right? And the idea here is negative. I didn't really like the movie. You're gonna watch a video and you're going to pay attention to these sentences. You're going to check if they are true or false. So which sentence isn't true? Number 1, Kate knows more about Frankenstein than Simon. Number 2, there are lots of different Frankenstein movies. Or number 3, the Lord of the Rings movies were created before the books. Check which one isn't true, which one is false. Number 1, 2, or 3. Let's watch the video.
Welcome to Learning Curve. I've decided to be Frankenstein today because we're talking about films. What books have you read that became movies? Which did you like better?
Simon, you are not Frankenstein.
Of course not. I'm Simon. I'm wearing a Frankenstein mask.
No, I mean, read the book. In the book, he's called the monster. That's the scary man. Dr. Frankenstein made the monster.
So, this isn't a Frankenstein mask?
No, it's a monster mask.
I've never read the book. Is it very different from the film?
The film? You mean the movies, plural. Did you know that there have been over 40 movies with Frankenstein's monster in them? The 1931 movie is the most famous one. When people think of Frankenstein, they usually think of the face from that movie. In the book, the monster has long conversations with Dr. Frankenstein. In the movie, the monster never speaks. The filmmakers first chose Bela Lugosi as the actor for the monster. He thought the monster was a stupid, awful character. So then they chose Boris Karloff. Karloff worked with the makeup artist to create the monster's character and disguise. He wanted the monster to have very dark eyes and to wear high, heavy black boots. These boots made him over 7 feet or 2 meters tall and much scarier. It worked. The movie made over $12 million. Let's talk about the movie of another book. Actually, 3 books. The Lord of the Rings was a very popular series of books. For many years, it wasn't possible to make movies of the books because technology wasn't very good. Finally, in 1999, director Peter Jackson started filming The Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. They made all 3 movies in 274 days. They tried to make the movies very similar to the books, but the director, Peter Jackson, changed some characters to make them funnier. The location, New Zealand, was very important for the film. Not many people have been to the beautiful snowy mountains and other places you see in the movies. Over to you, Simon.
So, which sentence isn't true? Number 3. The Lord of the Rings movies were created after the books, not before, right? All the movies are based on books, right? And number 1 and 2 are correct. Kate knows more about Frankenstein than Simon, and there are lots of different Frankenstein movies. All right? Let's go ahead the skill. Let's go ahead. The skill today is about listening for detailed information. It is often necessary to understand what someone says in detail. Listen carefully to all the speakers. Sometimes one person corrects another person's information. Listen for people's names. Often you hear important information about the person immediately after you hear the name. And listen for key nouns and adjectives, right? So let's practice a little about this. Watch the second part of the video, and you're going to pay attention to these sentences from numbers 1 to 8. After watching the video, you're going to check if the sentences are true or false. Number 1. Kate says Dr. Frankenstein is a monster. Number 2. The most famous Frankenstein's monster is from the 1931 movie. 3. In the book, Frankenstein's monster. 3. In the book, Frankenstein's monster never speaks. 4. Boris Karloff's special boots made the monster very tall. 5. Number 5. There are 3 The Lord of the Rings books. 6. Number 6. They made the first movie in 274 days. 7. Some characters are funnier in the movie than in the books. 8. The location of the films was Australia. Do you remember these facts? Are they true or false? Let's check the answers. Number 1. Kate says Dr. Frankenstein is a monster. Number 1 is false. Dr. Frankenstein made the monster, right? He was the doctor and the monster. Number 2, the most famous Frankenstein's monster is from the 1931 movie. Number 2 is true. Number 3, in the book, Frankenstein's monster never speaks. This is false. He has long conversations during the movie with Dr. Frankenstein, right? Number 4, Boris Karloff's special boots made the monster very tall. Yeah, that was true. Scary and tall, right? Number 5, there are 3 The Lord of the Rings books. This is true. Number 6, they made the first movie in 274 days. That was false. They made the 3 movies in 274 days, right? 7. Some characters are funnier in the movie than in the books. That was true. And number 8. The location of the films was Australia. That was false. It was in New Zealand. So watch this video and choose the correct options to complete the sentence about what these people say. Let's pay attention to the video.
Now let's talk to our viewers. Kate, Andy is on video chat from Australia.
Hello. Well, I'm English, but I live in Sydney. I just want to say The Lord of the Rings is all right, but nothing is better than the original Mad Max. It's amazing. And that's Australian.
And what about the other Mad Max films?
They aren't bad, but they're a little boring. The best one after the original is Mad Max Fury Road. It has great action, and it's also quite sad. I've never seen a third one, but I've heard it's terrible.
Really? I thought it was exciting.
Okay. Now I want to see it. Thanks, Simon.
Great. Thanks, Andy. Now I have Millie from the UK on video chat.
Hi Simon. I've seen all the Harry Potter films 10 times, more than any of my friends. I'm the world's #1 Harry Potter fan. I know everything about them. Go ahead, ask me anything.
What's the game they play in the stadium?
Oh, that's easy. Quidditch. There's nothing like a Quidditch match. It's better than football, tennis, any game.
Kate, I need your help. Do you have another Harry Potter question for Millie?
Okay, who were Charlie, Percy, and Bill?
Aha. They were Ron Weasley's older brothers. They weren't in the movies very often, but they were in the books. I've read every book at least 15 times. Well, I've got to go. Another movie to watch. Bye.
Wow, there are a lot of people calling in today. Okay, here's Holly. She's a big fan of Jane Austen's books.
Hi, Simon. Not just the books. Any movie at all that has a story from a Jane Austen book. Have you ever seen Clueless? It's a movie from 1995.
That's quite an old film, but wasn't it a modern Pride and Prejudice?
Close. It was Jane Austen's Emma. The book, Emma, was about people in a small village. But in Clueless, the village is a modern high school. It's just like my life. It's cool.
How interesting. So, which movie was a modern Pride and Prejudice?
Oh, that was Bridget Jones's Diary. But that was a book first. The idea for the book came from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
I see. Very confusing.
Not for me. Bye.
Hi, I'm standing here with Yanis. Yanis, what is your favorite book and movie?
Bond.
What?
James Bond, 007.
Really? Oh my gosh, mine too.
Greatest spy ever.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with us.
Do you know why the first James Bond films were the best ones?
Because they were just like the books.
That's right. I've read all the books and seen all the films. Ian Fleming wrote the books. He was almost a spy, a secret agent himself. It's a shame the later films were different from the books.
I agree. Well, I could talk about James Bond all day.
Well, don't I make a good Frankenstein's monster?
You do, Simon, but you're a little scary. Well, I've certainly enjoyed talking about books and movies today. What books and movies have you read or seen? Which are your favorites? Let us know. Goodbye from Learning Curve and see you next time.
Answers. Number 1. Andy thinks the original Mad Max movie is amazing, right? He has been talking about, he has watched the Mad Max movie, the original one, and he loved it. Number 2. Millie has seen all the Harry Potter movies for 10 times, 15 or 20 times. She says letter A, 10 times. And she has read the books for 15 times, right? Number 3. Holly explains that Jane Austen didn't write letter B, Clueless, but it has the same story as one of her books, right? So Jane Austen wrote Emma and Pride and Prejudice, but Clueless she didn't. Number 4. Yanis thinks that the first James Bond movies were the best ones. And in the end of his interview, he talks about the later James Bond movies weren't good because they weren't the same from the book, right? This exercise, you're going to make notes in the chart, the name of the book, your opinion about this book, the name of the movie, and your opinion about the movie. You're going to compare, especially the books that you know that are also movies. So, you're going to use the adjectives to give your opinion about your favorite book and your favorite movie, right? Practice. Let's pay attention how you pronounce the linking consonants and vowels. When a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, come together. Examples. The Lord of the Rings was a very popular series of books. You see, Lord of was a series of. I can talk about James Bond all day. Toca, Bono. You see? This is that we call, in Portuguese, elision, when we get them together in a very short sound, right? Listen, and then you mark the links between the words. Which are the elisions of these sounds, right? What is the connection? Listen and check.
1,
Let's talk about the movie of another book.
2,
I thought it was exciting.
3,
She's a big fan of Jane Austen's books.
4,
I'm sure a lot of people agree with us.
5,
I've read all the books and seen all the movies.
And you're going to try to answer these questions to help you write your paragraph, right? The first question, what is the movie about? But if you prefer to talk about the book, you can say what the book is about, right? The second one, who are the actors? Next question, was the location important? What's your opinion of it? In this question, remember to use the adjectives that you learned, right? Talking about something positive, something negative of your book, or about your movie, favorite movie. The last question here, did the idea for the movie come from a book? Try to talk about a movie that is based on a book, right? Watch the movie. This is the first step in writing a review. Before you can review any film, it is crucial to watch the movie at least twice. Remember, watch the movie and take notes if necessary. Find details such as the name of the filmmaker, the movie director, his or her motivation to make that film, locations, plot, and characterization that served as the inspiration for the movie. Now look at the picture and answer the questions. Number 1. Who is the character on the right? Number 2. What cartoon series is he from? Have you ever seen it? Number 3. Who do you think the woman on the left is? So let's read the text and check your answers. Nancy Cartwright. As one of the most famous voices in the world, Nancy is the voice of Bart Simpson from the American TV cartoon The Simpsons. Naughty Schoolboy Bart and his family are some of the world's most popular TV characters. Listen to today's program to find out more. You're gonna listen to the radio program and try to answer this question. When did Nancy start playing Bart? Let's check.
Hello, and welcome to The Rob Young Show. I'm your host, Rob Young. Today's show is all about voice actors, those actors who do the voices for cartoons or advertisements. With me in the studio is TV and film journalist Chrissy Evans. Welcome, Chrissy.
Morning, Rob. It's nice to be here.
Chrissy, we're going to start with one of the most successful voice actors, Nancy Cartwright.
Well, yes, most people have probably never heard her name or seen her face, but we've all heard her voice. That's because she's the voice of Bart Simpson on the TV cartoon The Simpsons.
That's a pretty famous voice. When did Nancy start playing Bart?
She started playing Bart in 1987. At first, she wanted to play the part of Lisa Simpson, Bart's sister, but when she read about Bart, a 10-year-old boy who hated school, she decided that she wanted to play him instead.
Movie actors can win Oscars and other awards for their work. What about voice actors? Has Nancy ever won an award?
Yes, she's won a lot of awards. In 1992, she won an Emmy. It's like an Oscar, but it's for television. In 2012, she won a Special Voice Actors Award. And, of course, The Simpsons has also won a lot of awards.
And has Nancy ever acted in a movie?
Yes, she has, but she prefers voice acting. She once said about her part on The Simpsons, it's the best acting job in the world.
Okay, we're going to play some music now. Back in a few minutes.
So, when did Nancy start playing Bart? Do you remember? So the answer is she started playing Bart in 1987. Now you're going to answer the questions, right? Number 1. Who did Nancy want to play at first? Number 2. What awards has Nancy won? Number 3. Has she ever acted in a movie? And 4. What did Nancy say about her job on The Simpsons? Let's check the answers. Answers for number 1. Lisa Simpson. Number 2. She won an Emmy in 1992 and she won an award for voice actors in 2012. Question number 3. Has Nancy ever acted in a movie? And number 4. What was her opinion about her job? She said it was the best acting job in the world. Now take a look at this activity. We're going to identify the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. Let's check. When did Nancy start playing Bart? She started playing Bart in 1987. So, both question and answer are in the past tense, right? Simple past tense. We use did as the auxiliary verb for the questions in the simple past tense. And when the verbs are regular, remember we add ed, like the verb start. So we add ed, started, right? And here I use the simple past tense because I'm talking about specific information. I want to know the time. Every time I mention specific details about the experiences, I'm talking about the simple past tense, right? The next one. Has Nancy ever won an award? Yes, she's won a lot of awards. Here I'm talking about a time that I don't mention when exactly happened, right? I just want to know the experience if Nancy has ever won, all right, an award. And the answer is in the contraction of she has. I say, yes, she has won a lot of awards, but I don't say when. When I give this information in 1992, I talk about the time. Remember that I use the simple past tense, so the answer here is she won an Emmy, right? Won is the simple past tense of when. Let's practice a little bit more about the basic form, simple past, and the past participle of these verbs. So, which past participles are the same as the simple past forms? Let's check. The example. Buy, bought, bought. Buy is the basic form, bought is the simple past and the past participle. So let's check the other verbs. So let's check. Drink, drank, drunk. Drive, drove, driven. Eat, ate, eaten. Fly, flew, flown. Meet, met, met. Read, read, read. See, saw, seen. Speak, spoke, spoken. Wear, wore, wore. Win, won, won. Write, wrote, written. And the verbs buy, meet, read, and win have the same simple past tense and the past participle forms, right? The ones that are different are drink, drank, drunk, drive, drove, driven, eat, ate, eaten, fly, flew, flown. Right? Then we have see, saw, seen, speak, spoke, spoken, wear, wore, wore, write, wrote, written. Okay? As we are talking about experiences, describe some of the experiences in your life that are true for you according to this list. Number 1, I've had a big party at my house. Number 2, I've walked out of a movie theater before the end of a movie. 3, I've bought clothes online. 4, I've stayed awake all night. 5, I've tried a dangerous sport. 6, I've traveled first class. 7, I've sung on stage. And number 8, I've been on TV or in a newspaper. So which of these sentences are true for you? Check. And pay attention to the interrogative pronouns that I use to ask you questions about simple past questions to find out more when I want to know more details, specific information. So I ask for general information: what, time, when, place, where, people, who, how, the manner, the way, how much or how many, quantity, and did you, when I ask confirmation questions, yes, no questions, right? Now going ahead, we're going to finish Unit 12, Lesson B. You're going to match the pictures A to B with the events from the box, right? So what other types of parties can you think of? Which one is letter A? A housewarming party, a dinner, a wedding reception, or an office party? What about letter B? Take a look. And C? Now look at letter D picture. Can you identify? Let's check the answers. Letter A is an office party. You see the colleagues at work? In picture B, this is a wedding reception. C, it is a dinner party. And letter D, a housewarming party, right? Look at the party invitation below. Why are Amy and Will having a party? Amy and Will are having a going away party. We'd love you to join us as we say goodbye US and hello Australia. When? Saturday, July 2nd from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. Where? 17 Park Avenue. Children are welcome. No presents, please. Respondez s'il vous plaît at amyj81@net.com or 907-555-2392. So they're having a party because they are leaving the US and going to live in Australia. Alright? It's a farewell party, right? Now take a look at these 3 replies. Who is gonna go to the party? Who can't go? The first one, dear Amy and Will, thanks so much for the invitation. I'm really sorry but we can't make it because we're on vacation there. Hope you have a great time and good luck in Australia. Keep in touch. We'd love to come and visit you. Best wishes, Kate and Ian. 2. Hi Amy, hi Will. Thank you for the invitation. We love to come to the party and both of the kids would love to come too. We can't wait to see you. Lots of love, Ed and Fiona. The third one, dear Amy and Will. Thanks very much for the invitation. I can definitely make it. I'm probably going to be a bit late, as I'm gonna drive back from Boston that day. Can I bring anything? Food? Something to drink? All the best, Jim. So, who's going to go to the party? And who can't go? Let's check. So, Eddie and Fiona and Jim are going to the party, but Kate and Ian can't cause they're on vacation, right? The skill of this lesson is writing and replying to an invitation. So, when you are invited to a party or any other events, how do you answer? How do you reply? When you write an invitation, say what sort of party it is, where it is, what time it starts, and the date. Give people your contact details. Example, we're having a going away party, or we're having a birthday party, right? Hope you can come. Hope you can make it. Please reply. Or from the French expression, respondez s'il vous plaît, right? When you reply, thank the person who has invited you and accept or decline the invitation. If you decline, explain why you can't come. Example, I'd love to come. Positive, right? But if you decline, you say, I'd love to come, but I'm really sorry, but we can't come. All right? Let's practice what we learned. Rewrite the replies. Use the phrases from the skill box. So let's do it. Let's check. Let's check the answers. The first one, letter A. You say, hi, Amy and Will. I can't come. So you decline the invitation, right? The answer is about because you have an exam that day, right? So how do you say that? You say, I'm really sorry, but I can't come because I have an exam that day. And letter B, Amy and Will, they say thanks, see you on the second, right? Jazz and Matt. So, the example. Thanks so much for the invitation. We'd love to come. We can't wait to see you on the second. So let's learn a little bit more. Here in the text builder we have the articles. Remember, we have indefinite articles and definite. Am used for the singular and the or no article. Pay attention. We use a or am before singular nouns when we talk about a person or thing for the first time. Example, Amy and Will are having a going away party. We use the if we have already mentioned the person or thing. Example, we'd love to come to the party. And the last one, we use no article when we talk about things in general. Example, I love parties, right? Let's practice. Complete the sentences here by using a or am. Remember that a is before consonant sound and n before vowel sound. The or no article, right? Pay attention to the conversation. Let's check the answer. I moved into a new apartment last week, and I'm having a housewarming party next Friday. Would you like to come? I'd love to. What time's the party? It's at 8 o'clock. The apartment is 12A, Lancaster Street. Great. Do you like cake? Yes, especially chocolate cake. Great. I can make an orange and chocolate cake for the party. Remember, when I want to talk about something that I have already mentioned before, I use the before the word, right? Thank you for your participation and your attention, right? See you in the next video class.